scary moments like these? This. And you're not ready for this clip. Things happened that are impossible to explain, and now, for the first time, you're about to see it all. Camera caught something chilling. From behind the couch, a hand slowly reached out and lightly brushed her hair. She reacted instantly, jumping up and screaming in shock. Seconds later, a loud yelling sound followed, clearly resembling a man's voice, but no one was there. She turned on the lights and searched the room, but the house was empty. Even skeptical viewers admitted it did not look staged. What do you think? Mention the timestamp and comment below. Unexplainable incident. A couple in California had been dealing with strange activity in their home for weeks. Small things kept moving, and the house never felt calm. Eventually, they installed security cameras. The next morning, while reviewing the footage, they noticed something that made them stop breathing. Their daughter's doll was walking down the hallway on its own, slow and steady, like it knew where it was going. Another camera caught it entering their bedroom before the footage ended. They stood there in silence, realizing the strange activity in their home finally had a clear source. Interrupted sleep. In an eerie video shared online, a camera recorded a woman asleep on her couch when something sudden happened. Her leg lifted straight up and over her head, as if something unseen pulled it. The movement was fast and unnatural. The man sleeping next to her noticed right away and rushed to wake her. The footage showed no one touching her. Her daughter later said their family started experiencing strange activity after visiting an abandoned prison during a Halloween event. The activity kept getting worse, and they eventually moved out. The clip spread quickly online, with many people focused on one detail. The camera caught something happening that could not be explained. Devil throws cross. In Florida, an abandoned church sat locked up for months with no visitors and no activity. That's why the security team was caught off guard when they finally reviewed the CCTV footage. The camera showed a wooden cross hanging quietly on the wall until it suddenly launched forward and slammed onto the front benches. The movement wasn't slow or shaky. It looked forceful, like it had been thrown. There was no wind, no open doors, and no one anywhere in the frame. The team replayed the clip over and over, but nothing explained it. After that night, no one believed the church was truly empty anymore. Cemetery Gate Walk. A CCTV camera outside a cemetery was set up to watch the main gate, nothing more. Late one night, the footage showed a young girl walking calmly along the road outside the entrance. Everything looked normal at first. Then, in the next moment, she was suddenly inside the cemetery grounds, walking deeper along the path. The gate never opened, and no one else appeared on screen. Security reviewed the clip frame by frame and never found a point where she entered. That was when people started saying this wasn't a living person, but something returning to a place it once knew. Finally captured. Late at night, a man was talking to his co-worker in an otherwise empty office. He'd been noticing strange figures around the building for a while, so he asked his colleague to stay with him and help record, hoping to catch something on camera. On the seventh take, the footage finally showed it. A small, dark shape sprinted behind the colleague he was talking to. The man immediately pointed at it, clearly shocked. But when his co-worker turned to look, there was nothing there. Whatever it was had vanished in an instant. Watching it later, people said it didn't look like a trick of the light. It looked like an actual dark shadow darting across the office floor.
Oye, en la cámara, acaba de pasar ahorita una niña corriendo.
Terrifying homecoming. After coming back from a holiday, a homeowner decided to scroll through his home security footage just to make sure everything looked normal while he was away. One clip stopped him cold. In the video, a tall, human-shaped figure suddenly appeared in the hallway, moving in a strange hopping motion instead of walking. It paused, slowly turned its head, and stared straight into the camera. For a brief moment, a pale woman's face could also be seen. Then the figure hopped again and vanished right in front of the lens. After watching it, the homeowner said there was no way to explain it. Slamming doors. A worker later shared CCTV footage from inside a meatpacking plant, and it immediately made people uneasy. The hallway was almost empty when one employee walked past the cold storage area. Without warning, the heavy metal sliding door suddenly lifted upward with extreme force, rising nearly halfway before slamming shut again. It did not look slow or mechanical. It looked aggressive, like something pushed it from the inside. The worker froze in place, clearly shaken, then waved for another employee to come over. Together, they opened the door and checked inside. The storage room was completely empty. Pulled in hospital. A security camera inside a hospital room recorded something that left viewers disturbed. The footage showed a patient sleeping calmly in his bed when his foot suddenly lifted into the air on its own. Slowly, it looked as if his body was being pulled forward by something invisible. Moments later, the man woke up in confusion, clearly scared, and trying to understand what had just happened. There were no wires, no equipment, and no one else in the room that could explain it. When the clip spread online, many believed the camera had captured an unseen presence interacting directly with him. Ghost fades on cam. Late at night, a security camera caught something unsettling outside a window. A faint shape stood there, its outline blurry, its face impossible to make out but clearly not normal. It lingered for a few seconds, staring silently into the room, and then slowly seemed to dissolve, vanishing without a trace. People who watched the footage said it looked far from human, while others wondered if it was a trick of the light. Whatever it was, the camera captured it clearly, leaving behind only questions and a heavy, unnerving feeling that lingered long after. Magical poltergeist. A couple from Pennsylvania shared a truly nightmarish moment. Their house was haunted, and TikToker Jorge Luis Cruz Molina, along with his wife, have been sharing the paranormal activities on their account, Magical Poltergeist. On September 26, 2023, the woman was on a call when suddenly every light in the house began flickering uncontrollably. Her fear turned into gut-wrenching terror when she noticed the crucifix that had turned on its own. She ran out of the living room. They eventually called in a priest who said the spirit in their home was purely evil because only an evil force would mess with a cross.
Baby, stop! What the?
Evil takes over. Apartment. A traveler staying in a Virginia apartment noticed something odd one night. As he walked past the bathroom, a drawer slid open by itself. He watched it close, then open again. The next evening, the same thing happened, but all the drawers in the bathroom started opening one by one, with no one in the room. He didn't touch them, just left. Neighbors later said strange things had been happening in the apartment for years. The building's hallway cameras confirmed the movement, showing the drawers sliding without any explanation. Shadow terrorizes her.
This is a training board, and
Late one evening, a dancer was alone in her studio, going over the same routine she practiced every night. The room was quiet, lights steady, nothing out of place. As she turned toward the mirror, something dark moved behind her reflection. It passed close, fast, like someone walking right through the room. The mirror clearly caught the movement, but there was no one else there. She froze for half a second, then ran out. Invisible customer. A barber shop in Bangladesh went viral after CCTV footage showed something almost impossible. The barber moved through his motions, combing, trimming, and styling hair, but the chair in front of him was completely empty. He worked with full focus, adjusting angles and snipping precisely, as if an unseen client were sitting there. Nothing else in the shop moved. The natural precision of his movements made the footage even creepier. People online immediately speculated, was he cutting hair for a ghost, or was it something even stranger? Slamming door. A homeowner lay down on his living room couch, expecting nothing more than a short nap after a long day. While drifting in and out of sleep, he noticed the front door slowly pulling open. At first, it barely registered, and he assumed his mind was playing tricks on him. Seconds later, the door suddenly slammed shut with violent force, shaking the frame and echoing through the house. That sound jolted him fully awake. He did not stay to investigate. He grabbed what he could and left immediately. When the CCTV footage was later reviewed, there was no sign of wind or anyone nearby, only the door moving with unsettling intent. Mysterious stairwell figure. A man entered an abandoned 22-story building to record urban exploration footage. The place already felt heavy and silent as he climbed higher. When he reached the 10th floor, he aimed his camera down the stairwell. That was when a dark figure appeared below, rushing upward at an impossible speed. It did not walk or run. It seemed to glide along the steps, closing distance far too fast. The man backed away, then ran without stopping. The cameras clearly showed something moving in that stairwell, yet nothing about its motion looked human. Late-night wanderers. Once the mall shut down for the night, a security guard started his usual patrol through the quiet hallways. Everything felt normal until he noticed movement far ahead. He raised his phone and began recording. In the distance, two dark figures drifted across the corridor. They didn't walk or run. They glided smoothly, almost floating, before disappearing past a corner. Many said the shadows moved with intention, like they didn't belong to any living person. For them, it felt like the cameras had caught something that only came out after everyone else had left. Doorway watcher. In this scary clip, a father and son set up a camera in their room to capture anything unusual during the night. While they slept, the footage showed a door slowly opening. In the gap, a single glowing eye looked into the room. Seconds later, the door swung fully open, revealing an empty hallway. The sound woke the father, and the camera continued recording as he began speaking, even though no one else was visible. His calm conversation eventually woke his son, who watched in fear. The camera captured every moment, showing an unseen presence interacting without ever appearing fully on screen. House not empty. Another camera captured a normal day turning strange without warning. A woman rested under a blanket when it suddenly slid off her on its own. She turned the lights on, and they began flickering, switching on and off repeatedly. Later, security footage showed a door opening by itself. The camera then picked up what looked like something entering the room, even though no one was visible. Every action lined up clearly on video. Viewers believe the footage showed an unseen presence moving through the house, using the camera to make itself known and show it was not gone. Mannequin that looked back. In the year 2025, a young woman named Suki finished a late shift at a mannequin factory in Japan. She had worked there for months, surrounded by plastic faces and stiff bodies every day, so none of it bothered her anymore. While cleaning up, she glanced toward a mannequin standing alone in the corner, just out of habit. That was when its head slowly turned to the side. There were no machines running, no one else inside the room. Suki didn't stop to check again. She dropped everything, ran outside, and never returned to that building again. The basement doll. Throughout the month of November, a woman kept hearing strange sounds coming from her basement late at night. She brushed it off at first, blaming the house itself, but the noises returned again and again, always after dark. By December, the feeling became impossible to ignore, so she installed a security camera downstairs. When she reviewed the footage, her stomach dropped. One of the dolls slowly turned its head, pushed itself upright, and stood there facing the camera. It stayed still for a moment, then carefully laid back down exactly how it had been before. The next morning, every doll was removed from the house for good. Haunted festival? During a Christmas festival in a small Russian town, locals displayed handmade mannequins along the streets. Lisa had spent weeks working on hers and returned early the next morning to see it in daylight. While standing in front of it, she noticed one eye looked closed and smiled, thinking it was just the lighting. When she stepped to the side, the eye slowly opened. No one was nearby, and she hadn't touched it. The moment felt wrong. Later, locals told her strange things had always happened during that festival. Haunted doll. This took place in Houston, where a woman went live on Instagram to show a doll she had just bought from a drugstore for a cheap price. She laughed about how odd it looked and held it close to the camera while talking to her followers. Everything felt normal to her, but the comments started flooding in fast. People kept telling her to look at the doll's eyes. She brushed it off, thinking it was a joke. Later, when she replayed the live stream, she noticed it too. The doll's eyes had shifted. After that, she stopped keeping the doll anywhere near her bed. Store isn't empty. Inside a grocery store in California, security cameras picked up something the owner couldn't explain. While the store was closed, a box slid across an aisle on its own. Seconds later, items began falling from a nearby shelf. No one was inside, and the doors were locked. This didn't happen once. It repeated on different nights, always in the same spot. There was no airflow and no equipment nearby. When the owner looked into the building's past, he learned a serious incident involving a worker had happened in that exact area years earlier. After that, he stopped dismissing the footage as random. Ghost Rider. In Stanley, a woman went outside late one evening to find her son's bicycle. The street was quiet, but then she saw the bike start moving on its own. It rolled forward steadily, turning slightly at corners like someone was guiding it, though nobody was there. She froze, unsure what to think, and watched as it disappeared down the road. Later, she said it felt like something invisible had taken the bike for a ride. The security camera on the street captured the entire moment, showing no people nearby at all. Daughter calls father. A man had been worried about his missing daughter for weeks. One night, he and a friend checked around an old abandoned building known for strange sounds. As he called her name near a broken window, a noise seemed to echo back from inside.
Ben.
His flashlight lit the cracks, but nothing moved. When he called again, only silence followed. The camera nearby recorded him standing there, calling and waiting, showing nobody else in the area. After that night, he didn't return, and the footage became one of the last signs of what had happened there.
Ahí está, ahí está. Ay, ahí está, güey, ahí está.
Creeping from window. Just days after Christmas in 2025, a woman living alone started feeling like her house wasn't empty anymore. Nothing obvious was wrong, but the air felt heavy at night. To calm herself, she set up a camera facing one of her windows. When she checked the footage later, she saw a pale face appear outside the glass, slowly leaning into view. It stayed still, as if studying the room, then pulled back. Minutes later, it came back again. This went on several times. The camera kept recording, but whatever it was never stayed long enough to be identified. Elevator panic. While staying at a hotel, a man realized his wife was missing and alerted security. When staff reviewed the CCTV, they saw her sprinting through the lobby, looking over her shoulder as if something was right behind her. She rushed into an elevator and pressed herself against the wall, clearly terrified. The doors stayed open. She stepped out in fear, and the elevator immediately closed and reopened on its own. The hallway was completely empty. No one appeared on any camera near her. When she was found later, she refused to explain what made her run, only saying she saw something she didn't want to see again. Paranormal locker room. In Indonesia, a night guard was making his usual rounds in a school locker room when something strange happened. A bag slid off a bench on its own, and then a chair slowly moved across the floor, as if pushed by an invisible hand. Moments later, drawers began opening and closing one by one, almost like someone invisible was searching through them. The guard froze, unsure whether to run or stay, just watching the room come alive around him. Later, he found out that this locker room had been the center of unexplained activity for years, but experiencing it firsthand left him more shaken than he ever expected. Scaredy cat guard. In Belém, Brazil, a security guard experienced something that changed his job overnight. CCTV footage showed him stopping near a doorway during his routine patrol. He raised his handheld scanner and aimed it directly at empty space, moving it carefully as if inspecting a person standing there. He even appeared to speak, pausing as though waiting for a response. Nothing showed up on the camera. What made the moment worse was the guard dog nearby, which began sniffing the air and reacting like someone was present. The guard later claimed he was checking an employee, but no one had been there. He reportedly quit the next day. If this footage gives you chills, hit like and subscribe. Otherwise, a ghost will come haunt you next, like this next one. Hospital footage. Late at night, a hospital worker was doing his routine checks in a quiet area of the building where covered patients were kept. The hallway was still, and the atmosphere already felt heavy. Without warning, one of the figures beneath a sheet suddenly sat upright. The CCTV camera captured the movement clearly. The worker froze for a split second, then turned and ran without looking back. The footage spread quickly, leaving viewers stunned. Some tried to explain it as a natural reaction of the body, while others believed something far more disturbing had been caught on camera. Whatever the reason, the moment terrified everyone who saw it. Moving shadows. After the store closed for the night, a female security guard stayed behind to review the CCTV like she always did. While switching between camera angles, something caught her attention. A huge shadow crossed one aisle, then appeared again on another camera seconds later. It had a human-like shape, but moved far too fast and too smoothly to be a real person. The store was empty, with all doors locked and no motion alerts triggered. When the footage was shared later, viewers argued over what the cameras had captured, but no explanation matched how clearly it moved across multiple angles. Haunted cemetery ladder. A municipal worker was recording inside a cemetery gallery when he caught something he never expected. The camera faced a row of burial niches where a ladder rested quietly against the wall. The space was completely still. No wind, no people, no movement at all. Then the ladder shifted on its own. It didn't fall or slide suddenly. It moved slowly, like something had leaned into it. The worker stood there filming, clearly confused, as the ladder changed position without any visible cause.
Oh, se está moviendo, mira.
Restaurant push. Late at night, a restaurant CCTV camera caught something no one expected. One employee was cleaning up, wiping surfaces, and getting ready to close, when he suddenly jerked backward like he had been shoved. He nearly lost his balance and looked genuinely stunned. Other workers nearby reacted right away, clearly confused about what they had just seen. No one was close enough to touch him, and the space behind him was empty. The footage was replayed several times, but there was no clear cause. So what was it then? Comment down below. Roadside figure. During a late-night walk in Manchester, New Hampshire, a woman and her friend were casually recording a video, talking about everyday frustrations. Nothing unusual stood out at first, but when the clip was reviewed later, something strange appeared in the background. For a brief moment, a dark, human-shaped figure could be seen crouched or standing low inside the bushes near the road. It stayed still, then vanished completely. Shadow by the stairs. In 2003, a woman disappeared from her apartment building in Louisiana, USA, and was never located. Years later, leaked CCTV footage from that same building began circulating online. The video showed her walking down a stairwell when a dark shape appeared below her. She stopped instantly, then turned and ran back up. The shadow followed, moving far faster than a person should. After that moment, there were no more sightings of her anywhere. For many, the camera may have caught the real reason she never came back. Kitchen camera figure. A home security camera captured something that immediately caught people's attention. In the footage, a faint, shadowy figure appeared to come down from the ceiling and slowly drift out of the kitchen. It looked human in form, but not solid, almost see-through. Some viewers believed it was a ghost caught at the exact right moment. Others argued it looked more like a person hidden by some kind of cloaking effect, only revealed when the light shifted. Either way, the camera recorded something that shouldn't have been there, and it left viewers deeply unsettled. Unseen hair touch. A security team reviewed footage after a staff member reported something strange during her shift. She said she felt something brush through her hair while she was completely alone. The room had no windows, no vents, and no airflow. When they checked the camera, her hair clearly lifted and moved, as if something passed through it. The camera showed the movement plainly. She later said it felt like touch, not air. Some people claimed it was a video glitch, but she believed the camera captured an invisible interaction happening right beside her. Classroom dark figure. Late one evening, a school security guard checked classrooms after hours when something caught his attention. Through a classroom window, he saw a dark figure sitting at a desk in the back of the room. It was completely still. When he entered the classroom moments later, no one was there. The camera footage confirmed what he described. He said this was not the first time strange things happened during late shifts, including sounds, movement, and objects changing position. Viewers believe the camera recorded something watching from the classroom after everyone had already left. Spinning barber chair. After closing time, a barbershop employee caught something disturbing on camera. While cleaning the shop, one of the heavy barber chairs began rotating by itself. The movement was slow and controlled, not sudden or jerky. The chair was solid and difficult to move, which made the footage even harder to explain. Other employees rushed over as the camera kept recording, and nearby customers stopped to watch. No one touched the chair. Nothing around it moved. The staff reviewed the footage and agreed it didn't look mechanical or accidental. Knee-high figure. A security guard reviewed store footage while searching for a shoplifter when something else appeared instead. For a single moment, a small figure showed up behind the thief's leg, reaching only knee height, then vanished in the next frame. The camera caught it clearly before it disappeared. Some viewers believe the figure followed the man, possibly influencing his behavior. Others said it resembled a duende, a small creature often described in folklore. The footage sparked debate, but everyone agreed on one thing. The camera recorded something that was not supposed to be there. Subscribers' pick of the day. On 21st of November 2025, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a salesgirl was arranging products in her store around 1 in the afternoon when the front door suddenly opened on its own. She immediately turned, greeting whoever she assumed had walked in, and began explaining products, pointing to shelves and speaking as if a customer stood right in front of her. For several minutes, she continued the conversation, completely unaware. Her co-workers eventually noticed her talking to empty space and rushed over. When they showed her the CCTV footage, it was clear no one had entered the store at all. That revelation was absolutely shocking for her. What has shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and as you do that, why not like the video and subscribe? It helps us bring the best content to you. Thank you.